My name is Gabrielle Louise, and this is my identity story. That's me as a baby. Super cute, right? At this age, I didn't know how hard it would be to try and find out who I wanted to be in life. I didn't know the struggles that I would face trying to find myself. Everything was easy then. I was born to my parents, Catherine and Perry, on a cold winter day in December. As you can tell, my parents are not the same color. My mom is black and my dad is white. This makes me biracial. My parents also had a little boy a year after they had me. My brother's name is Josiah, and he is my best friend. Growing up, he was the only kid I really knew that looked like me or had parents that looked like mine. My family and I live in a suburb in Minnesota. When I was in elementary school, I realized that I didn't have any friends or teachers that looked like me. It made me feel like I didn't belong. Having the opportunity to observe at a culturally specific school like the Mon College Preparatory Academy showed me that there are schools where people feel a sense of community. I never felt that sense of community in school since I always felt like I stood out because of my color. Last year, I was invited to give a speech in front of the heads of the school district I attended. They seemed pretty shocked when I told them I had never had a teacher of color or that my mother and her sisters, who also attended the same district, did not have any either.
This is of significant importance to me as a young African American woman who is the second generation in her family to attend the school district. To my knowledge, not one of us has had the opportunity to have a teacher of color. This is critical as I believe that all people should have a role model that they can not only look up to, but who represents their race.
Growing up, I really looked up to Beyonce. She looked like me, and she was powerful, beautiful, and inspirational. I wanted to be just like her when I was little. I would buy her clothing, her albums, and do solos to Beyonce songs to try and dance like her. Beyonce is so inspirational and powerful, and because of that, I wanted to be just like her. It is so important for students to see adults in roles of power that look like them. It shows them that they too can be in a role of power, like a teacher one day. When I was little, it almost seemed like Black people couldn't be teachers because I had never had one before. In Education Researchers, Understanding Cultural Diversity in Learning, the article discussed how minority students feel psychological pressures to act white. Due to the history of white supremacy, growing up, I really felt like I always had to try my best to act white, even though my skin is not purely white. Besides not having any teachers that looked like me, everywhere around me, I was the only person that I knew that had dark skin. The kids in my classes didn't look like me. The only kid besides me with dark skin in track was my brother. My friends from middle school didn't look like me. My friends from high school didn't look like me. I was the only Black girl in competitive dance at my dance studio. This routine has over 60 girls in it, and I am the only Black girl in the entire routine. It was hard growing up because I always felt as if I stood out. I wasn't able to blend in with everyone unless I was with my family because they looked like me. Growing up, I didn't know how important it was to be unique and to shine in your own ways. All I wanted was to be like the white girls I was surrounded by when I wasn't with my family. So how did I get to where I am today? How did I get from being surrounded by people that didn't look like me to now having close friends that are of my same culture and going to school with plans to make a change in education in the near future? I found the importance of embracing my culture. I realized that even though I grew up not having anyone to look up to that looked like me, that I can still be a teacher one day and prevent students of color from feeling the same way I did growing up. According to Tatum in her book, Why Are All the Black Kids Sitting Together in the Cafeteria?, the search for personal identity that intensifies in adolescence can involve several dimensions of an adolescent's life. When I was an adolescent, I found that I really value my beliefs and my ethnic identities. This correlates with my belief that students need to attend schools that they have teachers and peers that look like them. It's hard to find yourself when no one around you looks like you. When I become a teacher, I plan on letting my students know that it's okay to be in their own skin and that they are not alone. In my classroom, I could create dialogue in many different ways. In our classroom, we had the opportunity to learn about creating a dialogue through live theater. Maybe when I'm a teacher, I could take my students to a show about identity, development, and the future. By opening up discussion about how important topics like identity and their hopes for the future, I will be able to let my students feel comfortable to share their thoughts and feelings and get things off their chest. Another way that I plan on allowing my students to express themselves in my classroom is by treating all my students fairly. Many students of color have experienced discrimination at school. According to the New York Times, public schools are increasingly filled with Black and Hispanic students, but the children identified as gifted in those schools are overwhelmingly white and Asian. In my classroom, I would provide equal opportunities for students of all colors and ethnicities, and I would push for gifted screenings of all students so each student has the chance to show off their abilities, because I believe that no student's talents should be undiscovered because of their race. Due to the experiences I had growing up, I really want to make a change in the future of education. Every student should feel comfortable with who they are and feel supported no matter what race they are. School is a major part of life and students should feel comfortable attending. I am truly blessed to have the opportunity to go to school with plans to make a change in the future of education. I hope that one day all students will feel a sense of community in school and feel proud to be themselves.
This is brave, this is bruised, this is who I'm meant to be, this is me.